My name is Hannah Pearson and I am presenting Education in the United States. I am interested in education because I want to be an English teacher when I graduate and then work towards my PhD. To answer multiple questions relating to education, I started with an abstraction of education. An abstraction is a method of expressing real-world entities in such a way that makes it easier to comprehend by creating a simplistic form of the data. The aspects of education that are represented in my data are average student rate, revenue, math, and reading. Average student rate and revenue are both keys that return integer values. Math and reading are both keys that return lists of integers. This is the structure of my dataset. To access average student rate, I use the dictionary's data and attendance. To access revenue, I use the dictionary's data and then funding. To access both math and reading, I went through the dictionary's data and score. The limitations of my project are that my dataset only has data from 1 year. This limited me significantly because I was not able to compare data over time. You also are not able to represent the reasons why students were not in school, and there is no specific grading scale. My first question is if there is a relationship between school funding and student math scores. This is important because many schools are underfunded, and this tends to occur in neighborhoods that house poor people. I want to see if funding has any impact on student education. According to Complex, Chicago public schools are suing the state of Illinois because they only receive 15% of the money that the state sets aside for education. I found that there is not a relationship between math scores and school funding, with the amount of funding represented in millions. My second question is if there is a relationship between student math scores and school attendance. This is important because if a student misses school, it could impact their grades. Surprisingly, there was not a relationship between attendance and student math scores. My third question is what is the comparison between reading scores in New Mexico, New York, Massachusetts, and Oklahoma? According to the Huffington Post, Massachusetts has one of the highest graduation rates, and New Mexico has the lowest graduation rate. As I suspected, Massachusetts has the highest average score and New Mexico has the lowest. There may also be some significance in the fact that New Mexico and Oklahoma are both southern states and they have the worst scores versus Massachusetts and New York, which are northern states, that have the better scores. New Mexico has an average score of 251, while Massachusetts has an average score of 273, with New York and Oklahoma falling in between. Unfortunately, the dataset does not specify what kind of grading scale these scores are on. There are many stakeholders that would be interested in these results. Students themselves are directly impacted by school and scores. School boards would be interested because they are the ones that make big decisions about schools and its programs. If funding is low, they may cut certain programs that affect education. Parents would be interested in this data because most of them want their children to get the best education possible. And real estate agencies have stake in this information because parents who want their kids to get better education will move to find better schools.